This is my client, Nicole Osoria. You can find her on Instagram here. We're gonna take you through a home glute workout using just body weight and band exercises. So, first up, we got the skater squat. So, in the past, I haven't recommended skater squats a lot because if you don't have support, you feel more in the quads. But when you use support, and you just used as much as you need, sink back, reach back, this is a very glute dominant movement. So we're starting off with skater squats, and I would probably just, have Nicole do around 3 sets of 10. Now you could say, how to use progressive overload with this movement? That's a good point, because she's giving herself assistance. You really don't know if you're getting stronger over time. Switch legs. But you're gonna feel this in the glutes a lot. Reach back, sink into that hip, and the goal is to get deeper over time and to use less assistance. If you have a partner with you, you can obviously just hold their hands like that. Reach back, good. So 3 sets of 10. Okay, so that's exercise number 1. All right, next up we're going deficit split squats. So Nicole is going to sink way down deep, come back up, trying to really stretch the glutes. Now this will also work the quads and the adductors. The goal is to go really, really deep. And again, probably 3 sets of 10 would be a good goal for this one. Now, these two surfaces are roughly level. You could have the back foot a little higher and have it more like a rear foot elevator, a Bulgarian split squat. But anything that lets you sink extra deep, that's the goal here. Next up, we have the single leg hip thrust. Now, I give this in my Booty by Bret program all the time, 3 sets of 20. Put your arms out, straight out, come down, tap your butt to the ground. Come up, leg, there. We want it out of the way. Tap your butt, a little faster. 3, is that 3? 4. We're gonna do 20 here. 5, tap, 6, 7, 8. I'm actually showing the 20 reps, 9, because 3 sets of 20 is brutal. In my Booty by Bret program, it's a love-hate relationship. And I give this as an option if you don't want to do barbell hip thrusts. But yeah, 3 by 20 with did you do 20? You did not do 20, caught. We will count those out, 15. Okay, Nicole is acting all tough today.
It's actually brutal.
Yeah, she was acting tough because no one does single leg hip thrusts. Okay, 2, let's get 15. 3, 4, 5, 6.
I mean, I did 15 already.
Wait, are you drunk?
Give me a second. I can do with the other leg.
Whenever you're at home, I promise you, 3 sets of 20 hip thrusts with a minute rest in between. If you can do that, then you're awesome because it is really, really hard to do. I've done it before, 3 by 20, just to experience what my clients go through. And that's really hard for me. And I can hip thrust, I've hip thrusted 800 pounds. So don't think that you're above single leg hip thrusts. Make sure you tap your butt to the ground and come all the way up into full hip extension, just like Nicole is doing here. Push the heel. We want the shin at a vertical, shin vertical at the top, 90-degree knee angle. And see how she kind of rocks back and hinges. With single leg hip thrusts, we always do hinge method, never scoop method. Meaning, what that means is don't look forward and move from the sternum down. We don't ever do single leg hip thrusts like this. It still works, just not as good as the hinge method where you rock back and push as tall as possible. Okay, good. Next up, we have dual elevated knee banded hip thrust. This is the best glute exercise that you're not doing. So Nicole is gonna put her arms out, put her feet on top of the, you kind of gotta, if you do this right, you'll feel kind of cramped together here. So then she's gonna go down and touch her butt to the ground. Now, come down, hold on, come down. Here's where I want her to break the band. You gotta break the band when you're at the bottom. When you're at the top, I don't want you trying to push out. Only push out right at the bottom. Now, when you come up, let your knees come in and push tall. Rock tall, boom, yep. Now out, boom, come up. Now from here, pause, pause. She's not trying to push out here. In fact, let your knees come in and like push as tall as you can go. Boom, that's the lockout. From here, as soon as you start going down, I wanna see this spread, spread, spread. And when your butt touches the ground, it reaches its widest point. So, and then you gotta make sure this table doesn't slide. I'm gonna sit on it. But yeah, keep going. Okay, spread, spread, spread. Nope, I did not see it spread. Okay, come up.
On the way up.
On the way down. So start spreading on the way down, right there, out, yes, good. Come up, tall. Knees out, push tall. So when you do this right, you'll feel extra glute activation at the bottom of the hip thrust. The reason why this works so good, I'm just gonna try to explain the science real quick. When you're in deep hip flexion, the bottom of a squat, lunge, hip thrust, you name it, glute activation reduces. For some reason, when you're doing hip extension, at the bottom, it could be related to the moment arm, the leverage of the muscle. The nervous system does not activate it very highly. But when you push out, the glutes activate way higher, so same stretch, same range of motion with more glute activation has to result in greater glute growth. So even though you don't have a lot of load on your hips, in fact, you have no load on your hips, just load at the knees, this does provide a big challenge to the glutes. In fact, you might want to start off with 3 sets of 12, and then over time, work your way up to 3 sets of 20. You're gonna love these. All right, next up, just band kickbacks. You'll see as you do these that Nicole, without even being told, she naturally turns her foot out at end range hip extension. That's exactly what I want to see. You can go straight back, you can go at a slight angle if you want, but you do see a natural turnout of the feet as you lock out the movement. So 20 reps, both legs, 3 sets of 20. This is all glutes. You're not gonna feel this anywhere else. Okay. So next up we have the extra range hip hike, knee banded, but Nicole actually has the bands around halfway up her thigh. We hike these up. Okay, so she's kind of going back into a little lunge, tapping, but what I want her to do is kind of sink this way. Turn in, come out, boom. Now you don't have to tap, you don't have to squat. You could just kind of stand upright and just sink down here and come up, raise out, boom. So what we're looking for is tilt the pelvis laterally and then tilt it the other way at the lockout. So we want a glute medius stretch at the bottom and a squeeze at the top. And try to do these the way you feel them most. See how Nicole's kind of curtsying back as she does these? This might be the way she likes them most. But you might like going straight down. No, don't stay lateral. Stay frontal plane. Just sink, come up, boom. Sink down. Yeah. All right, that's it. That's a wrap. Just 6 exercises, which is a lot. If she did 3 sets, that'd be 18 sets, which would be hard to recover from if she trained glutes Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or 3 days a week. One of the biggest problems I see with the way people train their glutes is doing too much volume when you're training glutes 3 days a week. Like I'm always in the gym telling my girls, call it quits. You gotta come back in 2 days, you know? It's Monday, Wednesday's coming around the corner soon. You don't wanna be too fatigued. You need to be recovered to have good glute workout. So if we think of the rule of thirds and the different categories, we did our kind of like our hinge movement, the skater squat. It's a squat, but it's kind of like a hinge because you sit back so much. It's really hard to do hinges with body weight because you need a dumbbell. So that's as hingy as it gets in my opinion, the braced skater squat. Then we did the deficit split squat, that's the squat lunge category. Then we did the single leg hip thrust, which is the thrust bridge category. And then we followed it up with dual elevated knee banded hip thrust, which it's a hip thrust, but it's also abduction, especially at the bottom when you're trying to break the band. There you're in deep hip flexion, that's transverse plane hip abduction. Followed up with kickbacks, which is, I guess you could categorize it as a hinge, but it's kind of its own category. And then we finished off with the extra range hip hikes, which you can do with or without a band. You can do it with ankle weights, but that's frontal plane hip abduction. So we hit the glutes from all angles. We hit the glute medius, we hit the upper glute max, we hit the lower glute max. But I hope this video teaches you that you can get a good high quality glute workout in from home. If you're at a hotel, if your gym is closed, if you just are stressed and can't make it to the gym, try this workout. It's a lot harder than you thought. I know Nicole probably underestimated, I told her earlier. She's like, I'm going to the gym to do my real workout. And I'm like, this workout will be tough. I know during the single leg hip thrust, for example, were more challenging than she anticipated. I hope you liked the video. Make sure to hit like, give it a thumbs up. If you did like it, please leave me a comment and tell me what you'd like to see in the future. And finally, make sure you're subscribed to my channel. I'm committed. 2025, I'm trying to come out with a video at least once every 5 to 7 days. And big thanks to Nicole Osoria.
Casually, I can't say too much. Said what I said, and I said enough.